bye-week treat you guys? What kind of work you get done, and now changing into preparing for LSU?
Yeah, I think it was good for us. You know, we're getting some guys healthy. That's one reason. We had 2 good days of work last week, and then came back last night. Had a good practice last night. I thought the players reacted really well and had a lot of enthusiasm and worked extremely hard. Get us into a normal schedule so they could be off today, and then get us into a regular Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday schedule.
How is the health now, particularly like Talon and the offensive line? I don't think we actually about Shaq the other day, but him too, Jordan Young.
Yeah, there's a few of them. Talon's doing great. He was full speed and practiced all week last week and then did a good job last night. Both offensive linemen are back going. Shaq did not practice last night. We probably won't have him available for us. I'm just glad that it's not worse than it was. It was an ugly look on video, so he's actually fortunate that it wasn't worse than it was. Charlie Collins should get some work in tomorrow. That'll give us an idea of where he'll be at. A lot of his will just be able to handle the pain and see where that's at. It's a bone bruise, which are always very painful in your knee. No structural damage, so that's a great thing for him and his future. But it'll just be how quickly he can get back and whether he can or not. Jordan will be back practicing tomorrow too.
What did you see watching the LSU game this weekend? Anything stick out in terms of changes maybe going from Brian Kelly to Frank Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really, is there a lot of changes or not. Defensively, they were much more aggressive, it seemed like. They had brought a lot of pressure, brought a lot of blitz zero and third down situations. Did a good job defending Alabama's offense, and they got good players, and they came after him and were really aggressive. That seemed to be a little bit of a different look than what they have been doing. Offensively, seemed very similar. Seemed like they're still, in their minds want to throw the ball first and run the ball second. And, played both quarterbacks, so that was a little bit different. We're familiar with both of them, obviously, from last year. Have a lot of respect for Nussmeier and the way he's played throughout his career. Hasn't had the type of year that he thought he would have, but he's still a really good player. And then we'll have to be ready for both of them.
On an open week this late in the season, is there any, I know you probably won't give us names, but are there chances for guys to move up the depth chart and get some more playing time? I know, there's not much time left in this season, and are any young guys maybe sticking out over the course of the past 2 weeks or week?
Yeah, I think it's just, you're trying to work and get ready for the game and see the guys that have been playing and see the guys that have been in the depth and rotated in and made plays when they're in the game. There's nobody that just jumps out of my mind that says, yeah, we're going to get this young guy in and give him reps now. What's changed that a lot, I think, is the redshirt rules and the 4 games early, and you actually try to play guys earlier in the year now and see where they're at, and then have them redshirt as opposed to save those games for the end of the year. So I don't think anybody that just jumps out of my mind.
I think Frank Wilson was pretty non-committal about the quarterback situation in his post game. What did you see from Van Buren that makes him different, or his traits?
Yeah, I mean, they both can really throw the ball. And we played against Van Buren last year, and he played well against us and did a good job. He's probably quicker to leave the pocket, quicker athletically leaving the pocket to get yards. Not that Nussmeier can't run, because Nussmeier's done a really good job throughout his career running and getting yards too. Van Buren just has a little bit more suddenness and quickness to him. But I'll bet they'll be non-committal the whole week probably and make us prepare for both of them.
Yeah, and then you've seen a lot of all-out blitzing and stuff. How's the team in general handle the blitzing, and then maybe the type you'll see from LSU?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what their strategy will be, because we've had a couple teams that we felt would come in and blitz us a lot, and they did for a little bit, and then they went to some drop 8. LSU also plays drop 8, and that causes your quarterback to have to be very disciplined in his progression reads and patient. So it'll be interesting to see which way they lean and which way they go. He's always been kind of a down and distance guy. He does a great job. They're really good on defense, and they're going to come in and try to stop your run first. So we're going to have to find a way to run the ball.
And then their receiving core, really talented, it looks to me like. Can you maybe speak to what you see from their receivers?
Yeah, they got guys that can really run and catch the ball, elevate and turn. So they certainly are, a concern. We've got to make sure that we're where we need to be. Our secondary has been practicing well and working hard at it, and the communication's been good back there. So we're going to have to carry that into the game.
Did you make a change to a Sunday night practice, kind of the itinerary, especially coming out of a bye week, to jumpstart the energy, or does that just all come from the players?
No, I think, you try to get them a little time off so we can recover and they get away from it. I like to bring them back on Sunday night. Number one is make sure they're all here, make sure they're ready to go to school on Monday, and then to get a good practice in, make sure we get out there and sweat and work and then go to a regular schedule, a regular game preparation schedule. But last night's practice was longer and different than most Mondays, because a lot of Mondays it's just the young guys practicing and the older guys that played in a game running and conditioning and trying to get the soreness out. But it was a good, hard practice, hour-and-a-half practice, and they did a good job with it.
Doesn't sound like they'll be needed, but going back to the Mississippi State game, what'd you think of Cash Courtney and Kayvon Broussard?
Yeah, I mean, they both played well at times. They showed their ability and that they're both going to be really, really good football players. And then their inexperience showed up at times too. So it's kind of that, balancing act of being able to get your job done even though you're inexperienced. But they both played well at times, and they're both going to be really good players for us.
Back-to-back weeks with a takeaway for the defense. Also had 10 tackles for loss. What have you liked? What do you want them to get better at in the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think the first down defense was really good, and the ability to cause negative plays helps us tremendously. Carried over to third down. When you do a good job on first down and get negative plays, it helps you be better on third down defense. So we've got to continue to do that.
Coach, I want to ask you about Quincy Rhodes. I know last year you were focused primarily on the offense, but I'm wondering if you remember what he was like last year and then how he's maybe improved to where he's at this year.
Yeah, I remember him a lot just because, you go against him all in practice and then in spring ball leading up to it. And Quincy was always like this big, talented guy that was young and inexperienced, and now he's playing completely different. Now he's playing like an experienced player. He's playing with a lot of confidence and speed. It's amazing how much when you really understand and know your position and know what the other side of the ball is doing, how much faster you play. And he didn't get faster, physically, maybe a little bit in the summertime, in his quickness, but because he knows the game, he's playing faster and playing quicker and being a force out there.
With these last 3 games, where do you maybe want to see him make the most strides? I know he's been really good for you, but where could he still improve?
Yeah, I think to continually just to understand how to defend the run game, because he loves the passing game. He's understanding stances and knowing when the pass is coming a little bit better each and every week. And then we still need him to be a force in the run game. When he's been in movements and that, he's made good plays defending the run. And then when he's had to just hold his gap, that's where he's got to continue to work his hands and his leverage.
Teams have been able to take advantage of LSU's offensive line. Do you feel like your defensive line has a good opportunity against them this week?
Yeah, they've had some, protection struggles and some issues with their protections at times, and certainly that's one of the areas we need to try to, take advantage of.
This might seem kind of simple, but you're facing another interim coach this week. What is the biggest challenge of just being an interim in general, and is there anything you think is maybe people don't realize is as big of a challenge with being an interim?
That's a good question. That's not a bad question at all. I think the biggest challenge is just to keep the players motivated and keep them working together, and keep them trying to individually prepare to get better. be good teammates, make sure they take care of their teammates and have great attitude in the locker room. I think it's a challenge sometimes when you get beat to come to work with a smile on your face and attack the day. And that's kind of what we've been focused on, is let's make sure when we come in the building we're enjoying what we do. You know, we're very, very fortunate that we're athletes in Division I football, and let's come in and get better each day while we're in the building.
Speaking of that, I mean, it doesn't seem like your guys have lost any enthusiasm at all. I mean, they've played really hard these last few games. Other than the things you've talked about, like, you know, preparing, you know, for tape, the draft, or the next place they might land, why do you think that they've been so eager to come and still do the grind even with all the setbacks?
Yeah, I think the leadership from within the team, and I've always felt like, you know, as a coach, that one of the most important things is the leadership from within the team. We've got good kids that are leading and want to finish strong and want to, you know, win some games. So they continue to work hard. They continue to get the younger guys to help out. Our attitudes have been good. I think our assistant coaches have done a nice job of understanding we're working hard to get these guys better and preparing them for the game and keeping good attitudes in the building.
As far as Talon goes, these next few weeks are big for him, considering the fact that he'll go into the draft. What are the few things, I mean, especially when you think about your time in the NFL, what are the things that he's really going to need to improve on these next few weeks to show scouts that he can make that transition?
Yeah, I think there's no question he'll be able to make the transition. He's improved tremendously from a year ago. His understanding of coverages, his timing, getting the ball out of his hand. You know, he's starting to see a lot of different looks now, a little bit more coverage looks, and he's just got to continue to go through his progression, know the defensive coverage, and take what they give us. There's a few times we've been a little bit greedy.
Coach, you said after we spoke to you after the Mississippi State game, the locker room was down. You could feel it. Was there a point maybe in the practice last week where you could feel a turning point? Did it change when you guys just came back, or did something maybe happen in practice where you can maybe feel the attitude of the locker room change?
I mean, after the game, it was, you know, it was hard in the locker room. We all felt like we were in a position to win the game. We were going to win the game. They all put great effort out on the field and competed extremely hard. You come in on Monday and you watch the video and you try to be real critical of yourself and what can I do better? What do I need to do better? How can I improve? And then once you get that video done and you meet with your coaches and your teammates and you go through it all, it's very important as an athlete you put it behind you and move forward. And that's what we worked hard and tried to do. I think a lot of times it's easier said than done. You know, it still sticks with you a little bit. But when we came out to practice last Tuesday, I felt like they had good energy and they had good focus and they worked extremely hard. So you can't ask a whole lot more than that.
Your final 3 games of the season are all the permanent opponents moving forward for Arkansas, so rivals, I guess you could say. Is there a benefit to, you know, there's no bowl eligibility anymore? You said playing for pride, that you get maybe 3 rivalry games to close the season?
Never even thought about that. Didn't even know it till you just said it. So those are the regular opponents now, huh? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, be fun to get cranked up and go play.
Death Valley's one of the great venues in sports. I remember the 2009 game. I think it came down to a missed field goal. The 2011 game, that was the year that I think Garrett Ekman died. It's a sad week. You played there. Your only year at Texas A&M. You were at Death Valley. What do you remember about that stadium and just that environment playing in a place like that?
Yeah, I kind of remember all of them now that you brought it back to me. But the great game with Mallet down there and scored late in the game. Thought we were going to win the game, and then they went down and got a field goal in a 2-minute offense and went to overtime. That was a tough loss, but our guys played extremely hard. You know, the game after Garrett passed away, we took a good lead. We jumped on them 14-0, and then I think we ran out of gas a little bit there in the second half. So that was a tough loss for us. We played in the morning at A&M. That's the only time I've been there when the lights weren't off, I guess. So that was, a good football game. It was back and forth, and we still had an opportunity to win, but couldn't find a way to do it.
Did you play there when you were at Auburn?
No, we've had them at home when I was at Auburn.
And those are the only times you've played in Baton Rouge. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. But there were some other games. The 2008 game really propelled you guys, I thought, to the next season. And then of course, 2010 game was a great game in Little Rock. Sent you guys to the Sugar Bowl. Just your thoughts on, I guess, the history.
I thought the 8 game was something that made the off season tremendously better for us. You come off the field, your last game with a big win, an upset win, one that you get basically the last play of the game. So that was a pretty special win. And then the other game, I thought we played extremely well and did a nice job in the fourth quarter of running the football and dominating the game in the fourth quarter.
Just to follow up, what was Talon specifically dealing with?
I just had a couple nicks that happened in the last play of that game, and he's come back from them. He's 100% ready to go.
Mike Washington's season, how would you characterize what you maybe expected and what you've gotten from him?
Yeah, I'm not so sure we could ask any more than what we've gotten from Mike, or thought we would get that much production from him. We did know that about 2 weeks after he was here that we think we have a real special player, a guy that's got tremendous speed, good vision, can accelerate, make big plays, catch the ball really well out of the backfield. He surprised me on how well he's done protecting the quarterback. He's very big and physical in doing that. So I think he's definitely shown that he's going to have an opportunity to play at the next level.
And have you come across Frank Wilson very much in your past, and what do you know of him?
No, I really don't know Frank at all, so I'm not sure if I met him or not.
You mentioned previously, just a few questions ago, that sometimes a win in a previous season can kind of launch pad you into the next season. Is there an element of that here in these last 3 games, or has college football changed so much that, that's really no longer possible?
No, I still think it's an element for sure, because it makes the off season so much better. And when you're going to go lift in the weight room, and you sit down with your strength coach and figure out what your goals are, weight wise, strength wise, speed wise. Coming off a win makes everything a lot better.
Coach, appreciate you.
All right, thanks guys.